There's three primary elements for hit and run. Number one, there has to be course driving of a vehicle that results in an accident. Number two, the driver has to know of that accident. Number three, upon learning of the accident, the driver has to fail to meet their duty, which is one of two duties. Let's say you hit a car and the person's present, you have to exchange information. If you hit property and there's no one there, you still have a duty to leave contact information. So all three of those elements have to be met. Got into an accident, you knew of it, and you left the scene. Any of those aren't met, they can't convict you of that crime.
The consequences for a hit and run are 6 months of county jail, as well as a $1,000 base fine. After you add up penalties and assessments for that $1,000 base fine, that can rise up to several $1,000s.
In hit and run cases, oftentimes the facts are not in dispute. My client comes in and sees me. Regrettably, he did something wrong. He was driving home, he struck someone, out of fear he left the scene. So most people think, well, why do I need a lawyer? That's exactly why you do need a lawyer, because that's where my job starts, not ends. My job starts when my client comes in and says, I've done something wrong. My job is to mitigate it. My job is to understand what it is that my client needs out of my services. In that situation, my client caused damage to a car, he freaked out, and he left the scene. So what I did was I got the police report, and I was able to contact the victim, the parties whose vehicle was damaged, and we were able to work out what's called a civil compromise under the law, where my client agreed to make the victim whole financially. So he voluntarily repaired the damage to the other vehicle, and the victim was able to sign something saying he's no longer desirous of prosecution. I took that into court, and although my client was facing 6 months in jail and 2 points, the case was dismissed because the civil compromise was agreed upon with the victim, the DA, and the judge, and now he has no record. So that's a perfect example of someone who did commit a crime based on the elements, however was never convicted.